The HUD is truly dead. A new employee lawsuit has been filed. There's a new major investor in Tesla, and despite Model 3 not actually being a real thing you can buy yet, we might get some Model Y news here soon. Here are your Tesla tidbits for March 29th, 2017. We start with Twitter today, where Elon, I think, definitively closed the book on the HUD today. To continue my ongoing medical analogy with this saga, the patient has died. The time of death came at 12:58 Eastern Daylight Time today, after a long and somewhat amusing thread of him straight crushing hopes and dreams with short answers of simply no or an answer that meant no. It started off with Twitter user at NickG_UK hoping to get Elon to reconsider a standard instrument cluster. Quote, but, can we please have a central speedometer in the 3 for those of us who don't want autopilot? End quote. The response was simply no. Twitter user at Chukio2 chimed in, noting this would up the cost of the vehicle, and good old Nick G UK took another swing of the bat, saying, quote, I'd still rather spend the extra $50 on a simple 2-inch LCD Speedo if nothing else. I strongly prefer it in the middle, end quote. Elon this time just said, quote, you won't care, end quote. Down 2 strikes in the count, Nick G_UK was looking for a home run and asked, quote, does that mean it will have a HUD, end quote? Elon instead pumped another fastball by him and simply said no again. Strike 3, ball game over. And yet, there are those out there that still are confident as ever that a HUD is coming. If you're one of those folks, I think we have enough evidence now to definitively say it's not happening. Between today's hard no and the reasons given during the tweet storm on Friday, it's just not going to happen now, nor do I think it will ever happen. Firstly, Elon has consistently said that Model S and Model X will always have the newest technology. This alone tells you that we have to see this as an option in Model S or Model X first before this can even be plausible. Next up, and I think the biggest reason to believe this, is Elon has said that, quote, Model 3 is just a smaller, more affordable version of Model S with less range and power and fewer features, end quote. One of those fewer features is any display other than the 15-inch center display. The reasoning for this is to keep the overall cost of the car down. Fewer screens, less wiring, less processing power required. For those wondering about how to see what autopilot sees the way you can today, I suspect this may be one of the screens you can switch to on the display. And then lastly, it's Elon's eye to the future. When he said, quote, the more autonomous a car is, the less dash you need. How often do you look at the instrument panel when being driven in a taxi, end quote. It gave insight into his thought that he doesn't believe the instrument cluster is anything you'll need or want once the car just drives itself everywhere. Since we know Elon is all about the push to self-driving for the sake of human life, this makes a lot of sense as well. A lot of folks have been saying that they just can't have a car with none of the info an instrument cluster or a HUD would provide. If you're in this camp, I'd tell you to hold on to your reservation. Take the test drive. See how it plays out in real life. Your deposit is already a sunk cost. You don't have it. Not having it for a little longer could be the difference between either confirming your beliefs or having a heaping helping of remorse over canceling your order and realizing that you still wanted the car. Breaking super late yesterday, we had news of a new employee lawsuit. Teslarati brings us this massively involved story where DeWitt Lambert is suing the company for all manner of things. I'm going to just hit the highlights here as this is a very long and complex story. I encourage you to check the full link to get the extra details over at Teslarati. What it boils down to is that Lambert alleges a hostile, racist, sexist work environment and has a video where his coworkers thieved his phone and made a rather offensive, threatening video. For Tesla's part, they did have some issues in handling the case, including the HR person assigned to it quitting just days in and not properly handing it off to someone else. Tesla, however, refutes his claims of being passed over for promotions related to the matter. The company says he did receive a promotion last year and was passed over this year due to posting pictures of confidential Tesla technology on Facebook for all to see. The guy is lucky he wasn't outright fired for that, but yet he still has a job that he can sue over. DeWitt is currently on leave with pay until Tesla completes its investigation. We end the day at Electrek for these last 2 stories. Tesla announced today via compulsory SEC filing that Chinese company Tencent has acquired a 5% stake in the company. Elon said that he is, quote, glad to have Tencent as an investor and an advisor to Tesla, end quote. Lastly, Elon may be beginning the drip feed of Model Y information. He'd already mentioned during the tweet storm, quote, oh, Model Y is coming too in a few years, kinda have to, end quote. Ars Technica asked him by direct message on Twitter if there was any truth to the recent rumors of the 4th Tesla model. His response was simply, quote, next week, end quote. You can't think too much will be shared, especially with Model 3 still technically under wraps and not being on sale. But then again, you never really know with Elon. You can find the links to today's full stories in the show description. This show operates on a value-for-value model. If you get some value out of what I do each day, please consider supporting me at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. As always, thanks to super patrons John Waltower, Drew Schuyler, Cookie UK, and John Waller for supporting the show at the $10 plus level. If you've got nothing extra to spare, that's totally fine. Please feel free to support the show with your positive iTunes reviews and subscriptions, as well as across other services on the internet. Lastly, if you're in the market for a Tesla, you can get yourself $1,000 off while supporting the show and super patron Drew Schuyler by using the referral link ts.la/Andrew1233. That's all for today. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits. I'll see you all back here again tomorrow. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.